Hello, and welcome back to Chart Attack. It's the podcast where we jump in our great big pop time machine and select a number one single between the year 2000 and today, and we discuss it.
Hello everyone, back again. I'm Martin Young, here as always with Abigail Firth, and we're here for episode 2, where on today's episode we're discussing Rihanna's monster hit, Umbrella, her first number one, which famously topped the UK charts for the entire summer of 2007.
2000 song.
Good start, where I can't even say the year. 2007.
Blimey.
What a year. What a song. What a time. You don't get a bigger song than this, do you?
You do not. This is a monster hit.
Yeah, you cannot get a bigger number one single than this one. From someone who is undoubtedly one of the biggest, most important pop stars.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that in mind, we should start with a few facts on the song.
Can you give me some facts on Umbrella, please, Abby? I want to know what is the deal with this song.
I have plenty of facts, Martin.
Give me
So,
them.
Umbrella was the first single from Rihanna's third album, Good Girl Gone Bad.
What a record. What a record.
Big turning point for Rihanna.
Yes.
And it was released in the UK on the 14th of May 2007.
Yeah, but yeah, tell me about this. This is annoying, but yeah.
So as we do research for this podcast, there's different release dates for songs in different countries and in different formats.
Yeah,
We don't have this anymore. We don't have these perils anymore because of New Music Friday.
Why did people think of people making podcasts, 20 years, 15 years down the line?
Exactly. It's so
having to navigate
inconsiderate.
all this.
So nowadays we have New Music Friday and everything drops on the same day unless it comes out at some other point in the week. But it's all, it's all on every platform straight away.
Yeah.
Not in 2007. So Umbrella was released worldwide on the 29th of March 2007. But for some reason was released in the UK on the 14th of May. Nevertheless, went straight in at number one.
Yeah, knocked off Mick Fly with Baby's Coming Back. Not a Mick Fly song.
Yeah.
I remember. We mentioned Mick Fly last week. I don't remember that one.
Me either.
Apologies,
It's still going
Mick
strong
Fly.
2 years later, but I don't remember Baby's Coming Back. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it was replaced by Umbrella for 10 weeks.
10 whole weeks. What a run.
10 massive weeks. Amazingly, Rihanna was only 19 at the time of the release.
That is quite mind-blowing, actually.
Yeah. She's one of those where, I don't ever see her as ever being, a teen star or, a child star, even though, when she debuted, she was, 16.
She's always felt like the same age as well. Look at Rihanna now.
Yeah.
It's you don't think she's ever aged. She's exactly the same. Whatever.
Crazy. But the song was created by singer-songwriter, producer, The Dream.
Dream is a legend, yes.
Yeah. But at the time of recording this song, not this podcast, was most well known for writing Britney and Madonna's Me Against the Music, which that's a pretty decent credit.
Yeah.
So Umbrella was actually written with Britney Spears in mind while she was working on her comeback album Blackout. Now, 2007, Britney had a lot else going on.
Yeah.
She was not in a great place. Although I think that when you think about it, you can I can hear Britney's voice on this song.
Yeah, you think
I could hear Britney doing the "You have my heart."
That's a really good impression.
Thank you.
That's really good. Yeah, why? So Britney's label rejected this song. They rejected Umbrella. Why? What?
I think that it was probably not the vibe for Blackout. Because Blackout was very her coming out and being "Fuck you all, I'm here, bitch."
Yeah, Blackout has a very distinct vibe for a pop record.
And I don't think that
album.
this the lean on me-ness of Umbrella lent itself to Blackout.
Yeah.
So a label rejected it. It was also brought to Mary J. Blige, but she was a bit preoccupied with the Grammy season. She was not in an album cycle at the time. Again, I think that you can hear... I'm not going to impersonate Mary J. Blige because I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I think you could hear Mary J. Blige doing it as well.
Yeah, I think this is the era of time where songs were created and kind of shopped around a little bit, so they would fit with the right artist. So like the demo for Umbrella that the Dream created is online, is it? So you can hear it on YouTube.
Yeah. We'll get a clip of it.
The bones of the song are there. It sounds like the same song, but it doesn't have the kind of magic that Rihanna specifically brings to it, which makes it this incredible song.
I'm trying to think what sort of era of Mary J. Blige this was. I feel like it might have been when she was doing Just Fine and that kind of, like, it was a little bit poppier.
Yeah.
But it was Rihanna that brought it to life. So the track was sent to Island Def Jam chairman L.A. Reid, and it was confirmed as the song for Rihanna. So after she added her magical touch to it, it was nominated for Grammys for Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best Rap Song Collaboration.
Yeah,
so it does have the Jay-Z feature.
Jay-Z is on this song, which do you think Jay-Z adds a lot to this song? Do you think he makes it sort of, he's part of what makes it a special record?
I think he's just there.
He's just there, hanging about, you know.
It doesn't have a verse later on, does he? It's just the opening.
Little Miss Sunshine, where you at? Love that line. Love that line.
But I feel like Jay-Z was just on this. I feel like at the time, Rihanna was signed to Jay-Z's like management label.
So Jay-Z was invested in Rihanna's success, so I think he thought he'd jump on it. To be honest, I think this, like, Jay-Z's verse has absolutely nothing to do with the song being so good, I think.
No. Yeah, I think he's just sort of there, and he just kind of opens the song.
It's like a compere, like someone at the circus saying, "There you go," and now it's Rihanna.
Jeez, yeah. He's just kind of like announcing that it's starting.
I suppose it's good in that sense.
Yeah, but it most notably went to number one in the UK because it went to number one for the whole summer of 2007, and it literally rained more than ever throughout the 10 weeks that the song was at the top spot.
Yeah,
but floods all over the country. So it's quite a notorious number one in that respect.
Rihanna, like, literally has like elemental powers. I mean, like, you know, when like Liam Gallagher and like Oasis fans like say that everything's like biblical, that they really like this song, literally biblical, brought the rains for the whole of the summer. That's the power of Rihanna.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, despite all of this, it wasn't the biggest selling single of 2007. It's the second biggest single behind Leona Lewis's Bleeding Love.
What a song. Like, fair enough. Like, Bleeding Love is one of my like all-time favorite songs from this era. But that is surprising that you'd think that it was, outsold Umbrella though.
Bleeding Love came a few months later as well. I think that came out in like October or something. So it really like flew up there. So bizarrely, Rihanna performed this song with Klaxons at the Brits in 2008 in a mashup with Golden Scans, which has aged horrendously.
This is a moment that was like, fair. It was weird at the time. It's even weirder now.
Yeah, I think at the time it was probably like, because this was the year that Klaxons won the Mercury Prize.
Klaxons were popping off. Klaxons were big. Like, they were like the most exciting
New Rave was a big thing. When you look at it now, it feels weird because Klaxons are like defunct and Rihanna's this global superstar. But I think at the time they were both like on a come up.
Yeah, and she's always been in tune with stuff like that. Like, she's later on in the career, she's covering Tame Impala. She's obviously on track for Coldplay, so she's in that zone as well.
She also has she does have a British artery in her body, Remember when she had the Sainsbury's bag in that picture and everybody was like, she's in the UK.
Rihanna's Sainsbury's bag is one of the most iconic pop things. Get that. Someone get that, frame it, put it in the Museum of Pop somewhere.
Yeah.
Stick it.
But I think she does love the UK. I don't think it would be like that far-fetched if she knew what Golden Scans was before someone went to her. Yeah, so you're going to perform Umbrella mashed up with this Klaxon song.
Do you think if someone said to her now though and says, Rihanna, we've just had Klaxons in touch and they've asking if they can meet up with you just to remember this collaboration, maybe do another one? What do you think she would say?
I think we'd have part 2 of the "You Remember Me from Monaco" video.
Yeah, love
you
it.
remember me from the Brits? Like, who are you?
So because this song was number 1 for so long, it kept like some good songs off number 1, didn't it?
Yeah. Sadly, it kept Kate Nash's Foundations at number 2 for 3 weeks, which is another banger. We love Kate Nash.
We do love Kate Nash. That is a very lovely song. Not as good as Umbrella.
No, but it has that a very iconic bit in it. So, as we discussed a little bit last episode, people were singing in accents a lot. It's particularly British indie stars were singing in accents a lot. And that bit in Foundations where she says, bitter, is like so iconic to me.
Can't believe you've done a good like Britney impression and a good Kate Nash impression on the same episode. Well done.
I'm just on a roll. I'm on a roll. But I want to know what the press were saying, Martin. Can you give me a bit about what the press were saying about this song?
Well, the press were saying a lot because, Rihanna had already been kind of successful. But this is like the tipping point moment where she goes from star to superstar. This is what's important about the single. So when people are talking about it, Entertainment Weekly magazine, they called it the sexiest ode to weather protection ever. I like that.
What other forms of weather protection are there?
A cagoule.
A cagoule.
A poncho.
Going for a Roy Cropper vibe.
An poncho. Or like
poncho. A
or like
sun
a big,
hat.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
You think if she's talking about umbrella, she's not really talking about, like the only umbrellas I used to see were like the big, like massive golf umbrellas that would be like sponsored by like tobacco, like the big like Lambert Butler umbrella or something.
I have a really sexy umbrella. It's a foldable totes one that cost me £15.
Right, yeah.
It goes really tiny so you can fit it in your night out bag.
Everyone needs a sexy umbrella.
For sure.
Enemy loved Rihanna, even though it wasn't the indie scene. It was, big pop, but they loved it. So they said, we should all feel blessed to have lived through any season with pop songs as timeless as this, which is very true. And they also said that it matched vintage songwriting to some hyper-modern knob twiddling. Always love a bit of hyper-modern knob twiddling.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
But it's true. This is like a classic song as well, is it? In its basic terms.
It is a very good timeless pop song.
Yeah. Feels fresh, but it feels like, it's a bit rocky as well, isn't it? So maybe talk about this later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like a real sort of real well-crafted sort of pop song. So Dorian Lynskey at The Guardian, he wrote a piece. So he wrote about 9 weeks into its reign at number 1. Yeah, see that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he was stating that people are still not bored of it. 9 weeks in, still not bored of it. So The Guardian, Dorian said it was more like a rock power ballad than an R&B summer smash, and called it a nation has spoken hit. So everyone decided this song is the best.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, people were retrospectively talking about it. In a 10-year review of the track, Dazed magazine, they wrote a piece on how the song turned Rihanna into a pop icon and solidified her place as a massive singles artist. Like we mentioned there, she went on such a run after this.
Yeah. She'd had a couple of hits prior to this. I think SOS and Ponder Replay and was Unfaithful before this as well. She did have some versatility and some like chart success, but not in the way that Umbrella did. And she did go on to become a major superstar after this. Yeah.
So in an interview with Entertainment Weekly as well, Rihanna was talking about the album Good Girl Gone Bad, and she said that it represents my rebelliousness She says, I got really rebellious because I was being forced into a particular innocent image and I just had to break away from that. So do we think Umbrella did that for her?
I think so. Like I was saying earlier, though, I don't really associate Rihanna with having this like really innocent image. Not in the way that like, Disney kids of that era had like an innocent image. But I do think that she did break away from that with Good Girl Gone Bad, because then after this came like Rated R, right?
Yeah.
And Good Girl Gone Bad era was like the era of like Don't Stop the Music and Shut Up and Drive, and then like Disturbia. So she was like going into this like edgier territory.
Yeah. So I think obviously Rated R comes after sort of the incident with sort of Chris Brown, which is a defining point in her career. So Umbrella is before that.
Yeah.
Obviously, perspectives and sort of maybe change after that. Certainly going into Rated R. But this is like the midpoint maybe between going from that sort of, to the bright sunshine of, our first sort of two albums.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the midpoint. But this is like the establishment of the sort of iconic Rihanna look. Like, how every pop star has, like, you think of someone in your head and you think this is what it looked like. So you think of like Madonna, you just think of that Blonde Ambition tour with that pointed bra, the bleach blonde hair, everything about that. That's the image. Prince, you think of, in the big purple rain jacket on the motorbike. With Rihanna, you're thinking of her in this period, exactly this moment. Like how she's in the video.
With the bob and the...
Yeah, that hair, that is something that was like era defining, and you always remember that image of Rihanna. And that came from this period, came from this song.
So what I want to know, Martin, is what else was in the media and news during this time?
Rain. Lots and lots and lots of rain. So we mentioned sort of Rihanna's biblical power. Either it's an incredible coincidence or she truly has these biblical powers. But the whole reign of this song coincided with the wettest summer in memory. So the summer of 2007 was the wettest on record. So there was exactly, so I'm going to give you the facts here, right? There was 414 millimeters of rainfall across England and Wales from May to July, which is more than any period since records began in 1766. So across Yorkshire and the Midlands, thousands of people were rescued, whole towns were cut off, and families forced to flee their properties. All down to Rihanna.
Yeah, I remember it well. We'll get into this in a second.
Yeah.
But I do remember the floods.
Yeah, Rihanna herself said, I feel bad about that. I don't think it's my fault. I think the weather helped to keep the song there for so long. So it worked for me. Sorry, the house is destroyed, but I got my number one single.
If you were a pop knower, right? And you had to save some pop stars 2 by 2, who are you saving?
Saving? I'm saving Beyonce. Always going to say Beyonce. Beyonce and Lisa Scott Lee.
Okay. Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah.
A good duo.
Yeah. Get on the arc. Right. Some other news. Tony Blair. He was Prime Minister. And in this period of time that Umbrella was number one, he cleared off after a decade in charge, and he was replaced by Gordon Brown, who is the only Prime Minister that I've ever actually met.
What was he like?
He was like an old man in a Morrison's getting some shopping, maybe a sandwich, maybe it was a tuna sandwich. I can't say for sure if it was exactly a tuna sandwich, so don't sue me for libel, Gordon. But yeah, it was nice to meet you. On the cover of The NME, this is the really famous sort of naked Beth Ditto cover. That's one of the covers you remember.
Yes.
Beth Ditto, massive star at this time. That was an iconic look.
Beth Ditto and Gossip were really big at this time. 2007 was the year that Skins started, and
yeah,
I remember the Skins trailer having Standing in the Way of Control by Gossip on it. That was like a big moment.
Yeah.
In pop culture.
Oh, like totally. The week after this song first got to number one, Big Brother 2007 is starting, and this is the one that is won by Brian Bello. if you remember that series.
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
The Chanel and Ziggy series,
Yes.
you can call that. There's one thing we want to talk about, though, that is really important in this period. So, the week previous to Umbrella Gets #1, Eurovision happened, and it features an incredible performance of the song Flying the Flag, brackets, for you, close brackets, by... Who is it by again?
Scooch!
Scooch, yeah. How can I forget that? Scooch.
How could you forget that?
We're just blinded by the brilliance of it. So this performance is one of the greatest things you'll ever see. So break it down for me for a second, Abby.
Oh my god, this performance. So I went through a phase like a few years ago where I was obsessed with this performance because it's just so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like Eurovision, it's not super serious now, but like after the success of Sam Ryder last year, I feel like we're taking it a bit more seriously. But in 2007, this was just pure camp. I don't know how many points this got in the end. It probably wasn't a lot. But it's so amazing. They're like dressed as flight attendants. Please go and watch it if you've never seen it before.
Yeah, get this on YouTube. Let me just try and find the stats of where it finished.
It's like if Jet 2 was run by Butlin's Redcoats.
I got to number 5 in the charts. Tell you that.
Oh my god, that's better than any Eurovision placing.
That's
got to be like our most successful Eurovision track.
Yeah, the song came joint 22nd with a total of 19 points.
It's
like this.
Not good.
The performance is like a brilliant sort of like fever dream. Gotta get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think between like Eurovision starting and us having moderate success and Eurovision last year.
Yeah.
And Sam Ryder having great success, this was probably like the touchstone in between. But
in some ways, it's never been topped in some ways.
The one guy that keeps like pulling objects out and they're like comically large like bottles of Bucks Fizz, which is obviously a reference to like Bucks Fizz from Eurovision yesteryear. And he like pulls out the huge like glacier fruit or whatever it is.
Absolute.
Like, would you like something to suck on?
Nonsense.
It's just ridiculous. It's so good.
Would you like something to suck on? Absolute maximum pop nonsense. We love it. Yeah.
Shout out to Scooch.
Yes.
And it also rhymes with one of my favourite beverages, hooch.
Hooch and hooch. Love it.
But what else is going on?
Well, do you want to go back
down a different street?
Do you want to go back down Coniston Street? So here we are on the 20th of May episode, where one thing that's happening is Janice Battersby is eating cottage cheese straight out of the tub in a scene that made me almost physically sick.
That makes me ill to think about.
Cannot handle the thought of cottage cheese. Can't handle it.
Although as a child, I did actually like cottage cheese. My nan used to buy it a lot.
Right, you've seen the error of your ways as an adult.
Well, it's just I can't imagine thinking really fancy a bit of cottage cheese.
Roy Cropper, he's at the hospital. He's got a very fancy looking flask full of tea. Impressed by that. Probably one that's cost at least £25. Maybe he's bought it from like John Lewis or something.
Maybe it's just a real Chili's and not like a knockoff Chili's.
Yeah.
Other brands of flask are available.
Yeah. Let's check back in with Gail Platt again. She's very angry with our sort of supervillain son, David, because David has decided he's not going to do his English exam at school. Instead, he's just going to set fire to the exam paper, as you do.
What a little rat.
Yeah. So bad. And finally, apparently, Tyrone isn't in a sausage mood.
Who is in a sausage mood, Tyrone?
Anybody? I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out one other day. So that's what's happening in Coronation Street. But what's happening in your life?
Summer of 2007, I was going into year 6 in primary school. So, was the top dog.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were the big dogs in school. But
Yeah.
I do remember the summer being very rainy.
Of course.
I spent a lot of afternoons in like the latter end of year 5 sitting in classrooms. Like, as we established in the last episode, I am from South Yorkshire and there is a lot of hills. There are a lot of places that can and do flood. I luckily lived like at the top of a hill, so my house never flooded, but a lot of afternoons were spent in school, in primary school, watching films and waiting for parents to come and like pick students up, because if they didn't go home like before the rain got really bad, they just wouldn't be able to get home because the streets like would be flooded.
Wow.
I think that was that's pretty much my memory of it. Like, it was just number one while we were having a terrible time.
Yeah.
Really cut into my stats practices, obviously.
So basically, it was like the only good thing that was going on in the world.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And because this was like in the before times and we had to like wait for stuff to come out on CD before we actively listened to it, unless you were downloading it illegally or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe legally. I don't know. I wasn't doing this stuff. I was 9.
Yeah.
But because of that, like, my memories of the song are based around like when it got to the Christmas disco and it would come on like Pop Party 5 or like Now 67. Like, it was always like the first track of those songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I do remember girls in school getting that bob haircut as well, which is basically like the mark of a pop icon. If like
course.
Children in school copy a haircut, right?
Yeah. 100%. So let's break down the song a little bit. The actual meat of Umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So we mentioned this is a song that took Rihanna from sort of a promising sort of talent to like superstar. And we kind of talked a bit about the visuals where she's established that unique look, that identity. But the song itself, I think it encapsulates sort of the brilliance of Rihanna, because it's like something she's always done in her career. It's like she's not even sort of trying. It sounds so easy, so effortless. So we listen to someone like Gaga or even like Madonna. They are so very obviously trying and giving it.
And that's not a bad thing, by the way. It's just a different way of being a pop star.
Yeah, absolutely. But Rihanna made it look so easy.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the song itself? As we get into what it's about and everything.
So I think the song, one thing that we touched on a little bit earlier is that it's a bit rocky, and I think it's more like a rock power ballad than an R&B song or a pop song.
Yeah.
So the way it's written is like a little bit different, but I think there's a lot of depth, a lot of tenderness to it.
Yes,
kind of like this, like we said before, this kind of lean on me theme, this theme of friendship or closeness.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, maybe a bit of an odd theme for a big banger.
Yeah, it's like communal sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Relatable in a different way, maybe.
Yeah.
But more than anything, it's just so bloody catchy.
Yeah, I mean, like those Ellas, they are what's game changing.
Yeah, and they were already here, like in the demo from The Dream, but it's got a different attitude when Rihanna does it.
Like Rihanna's voice, nobody sounds like Rihanna. So like, you can say there's better singers, but nobody sounds like Rihanna.
And that's the beauty of pop stars. I think sometimes it's not that she doesn't have a powerful voice, but sometimes it's not that you just have a good voice, it's what you do with it.
Yeah. 100%.
Although the Ellas do remind me a little bit of, do you remember when Peter Kay did Geraldine?
Yes.
He did the Nelson Mandela Ella. Like, very of its time.
Yeah.
But if anyone remembers that, there you go. I might have unlocked a memory.
That is a link.
That reminds me of that as well.
That does make sense. One thing I forgot about with the Jay-Z verse, this line, in anticipation for precipitation.
Oh, yes.
That's why he's so smart, Jay-Z.
Good bar. Good bar.
And
He
what
also
else?
says the Rain Man is back with Little Miss Sunshine, which is something that you won't understand as a person who has only seen about 30 films, Martin, but both of those are references to other films, Rain Man and Little Miss Sunshine.
I
I'm pretty sure both of them have...
I thought you just made that up.
Yeah. I think, and I may be wrong in my award show knowledge, but I feel like Little Miss Sunshine and Rain Man both won an Oscar Best Picture once. I don't know if that's relevant to it.
Interesting. If people know about films, you can
good
confirm that.
wordplay. Good wordplay.
I have no idea.
But
about
I still don't
films,
think that he adds that much to the song.
Yeah. So why do we think it went to number one? I think it went to number one because it's such an amazing song. I think there's
I don't think that there's much analysis needed. I think that there was probably great luck or not luck, maybe for the British public, but great luck on Rihanna's part that it rained for so long. I think that it raining for so long obviously kept the song in the forefront of people's minds.
Yeah.
But if it was a crap song, it wouldn't have stayed in people's minds for that long, right?
Yeah. When you're number one for 10 weeks, it's because it's a really good song that's made a massive connection on a huge level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the song did.
And again, just to reiterate chart rules, people were consistently buying this song for 10 weeks.
Yeah. So the downloads were increasing and increasing and increasing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, it's a special moment. So
more importantly, where is she now? If this was the moment that made her a superstar, let's have a quick look back on Rihanna's career ever since.
Right, have you got some facts on how Rihanna has progressed?
She's done all right for herself. She's had 9 UK number ones. So we do love her over here.
Some of those are features. Of number ones, yeah.
Yeah. Some of those are features, but a number one is a number one nonetheless.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it has been 7 years since her last proper album. Yeah. 7 years.
That is.
Come on, Rihanna.
Yeah.
We don't need to say it. Everyone's asking you where the follow up is.
But her last proper album, so Anti, that is her best album.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
An incredible record.
A bit too much.
Yeah, incredible record. So if she's never going to make another album, yeah.
I think Anti was like the point for Rihanna where she'd reached such a status that she could do whatever she wanted with a record and it would do well. Although it didn't do as well as her other records. It did only peak at number 9, but she did give it out for free on Tidal. So whether that contributed to the chart or not, I don't know.
Yeah, she had all these years where she was knocking out number one single after number one single. Mm-hmm. Every album, every year was number one. And you can maybe see how she maybe felt a little bit sort of burned out and wanted to do something different or take some time away. So she's spending, or it seems like she's spending more time on her other sort of business ventures, or many business ventures than she does on music these days, it seems.
Yeah, love Fenty Beauty though. Don't give that up, please.
Yeah,
probably my second favorite celebrity makeup brand.
Yeah, providing.
Unfortunately, Rare Beauty is taking the cake, but Fenty Beauty, good job with that one. Well done.
Yeah, Rihanna has made a shit ton of money from selling stuff, which fair play to her. She has done super well with that. But in a pop sense, she kind of vanished until this year. She came back to Super Bowl, and now you're only doing the Super Bowl if you're one of the biggest pop acts around. But how do you think that kind of went?
See, I think this kind of comes back to when we were talking about the artists that feel like they're really trying when they're performing, because I think a lot of people were like disappointed with it or wanted more from it, but that's just not Rihanna.
Yeah, it was like in ways it was like a perfect Rihanna performance. Yeah,
exactly. She's not a person that's gonna have all the bells and whistles, but it was still great, and she still had all of the hits to back it up.
And she has that magnetic presence, and that was there, and it was just so nice to see her up there, and she looked happy. Yeah. She looked like she was reveling in it and just having fun. And she's earned that right. People can complain and say, "Oh, we need Rihanna back." No, in a pop sense, we of course we need Rihanna back. We want banger Rihanna. We want someone who is so good like that. But she's earned the right to do whatever she wants if she ever wants to make music again. I think she does want to make music again, doesn't she? But it's just on her own terms at the right time.
I've mentioned this before. I think just collectively we need to sort of give up on the idea that she's going to do another album, because if she puts something out and people don't like it, that's going to be it.
Yeah.
But Auntie, to me, was like the best bow out ever. And
that's true, yeah.
If we just kind of let it go and say, okay, maybe that was her last one. Let's stop begging her. We will be at peace with ourselves as pop fans.
Yeah, because she's busy doing other things. Obviously, nobody knew before the Super Bowl, but she was pregnant at the time. She's had a baby.
She's had a baby. Had a baby with A$AP Rocky. That's going to be a beautiful person. Let's just say that.
Yeah, like 100%. And, you know,
when that baby grows up, it will be beautiful.
Yeah.
And hopefully can join the ranks as well of like great celebrity kids.
Just imagine how much pop stars there's going to be in like 20 years' time, whatever.
Yeah. Because we're already seeing, you know, Northwest's an icon, you know, Blue Ivy, she's an icon.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of Rihanna's baby. I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure she's going to be an icon. Or he, is it a boy or a girl? I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's having another one anyway. She's having another baby.
Yeah, so
we're good for her.
That is obviously a beautiful thing. The last music she released was the ballads from the film last year, Lift Me Up. Unfortunately, not a cover of Jerry Halliwell's number one song, which is a better song than the Rihanna one.
Yeah,
I think. But you know, she's still making music.
Lift Me Up did go to number 3 though. So, despite how much we didn't really want a ballad, we still ate it up.
Yeah, people are still
said,
so
thank
excited.
God Rihanna's back.
Yeah, the anticipation for the Super Bowl show was more than I think any other one in recent memory. Because there was, you know, obviously all the hype that people were wondering, is she going to release new music? Is she going to do a new song? What's she going to look like? What's she going to sound like? And she sounded like Rihanna. That's what she was like. And
she's still amazing.
Yeah, so she still wants to release music, I think. It's just coming a long time. There's been rumours that it's going to be like a real dancehall record. It's going to be sort of experimental in that anti-way. But the quote that she gave to Vogue magazine earlier on this year said, I want it to be this year. Honestly, it would be ridiculous if it's not this year, but I just want to have fun. I just want to make music and make videos. And who can argue with Rihanna?
Exactly.
An undisputed.
I don't believe her though. I've got to say, I don't believe for a second that she's going to release any music this year.
We will see if that is ever going to happen. But undoubtedly, she is one of the most iconic artists of recent memory in this period that we're covering on the show. So Umbrella is someone that we had to get in here. An absolute monster hit. What a song. And the last thing to do is to rate the song out of 100.
I'm going to go a little bit higher this time. I still think that there's, in terms of Rihanna, I still think that there's better Rihanna songs.
Oh yeah, there is better Rihanna songs. Like, you know, there's more fun Rihanna songs. There's like Work and Rude Boy. They're the fun, like upbeats of bangers. But I think this song, like when he went to Super Bowl, she performed this song at a key point in it. Even though it's so long ago in her career, it's still probably her most remembered song.
Yeah, possibly. But I think it's not a Rihanna song I reach for if I'm going to listen to Rihanna. Yeah. So I'm going to go with 79.
That's good. I was going to go for 80. So there you go.
Okay. Well, we're in agreement there.
Yeah. What a song. What moment in time. A beautiful pop time for pop. So that is Umbrella done and dusted. We can now fold up the umbrella. It's quite hard to fold up an umbrella when it's wet, isn't it? How do you do that?
Well, I put mine upside down on the radiator. I just leave it hanging on the little knob at the side of the radiator. I've never had to bleed a radiator, so I don't know what that's called.
Just leave it hanging, and that's
just
how you
leave it hanging
dry.
on there.
Yeah,
dries it out. Otherwise, the bits inside are going to get rusty, and then your umbrella's going to be broken, and we don't want that.
There you go, listeners. There's some good advice for you. So next week, what we're going to do next week, we're going to be going kind of in a different vein again, aren't we? With another big star.
another big star, a Rihanna collaborator.
There you go. There's a teaser for you.
Yeah. Someone who may or may not be experiencing some chart success at this current moment.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So there you go. That'll be coming up next week. In the meantime,
Another legend of summer bangers coming up.
Yeah. This person loves the summer bangers. So that's coming up next week. In the meantime, you can listen to our show on the Dork Radio app, get that downloaded, or on anywhere, or probably anywhere you get your podcasts. Just seek us out.
Maybe anywhere.
Just seek us out.
Where else do people listen to podcasts other than Spotify or Apple Podcasts?
There must be somebody somewhere who listens somewhere. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm sure
if you want to hear it anywhere else, let us know, and we will do our best to get it on that platform.
If you want to hear us demand it, make it happen. But yeah, get in touch as well on our social channels. What's the social channels?
It's at Read Dork everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah, if you want to talk Rihanna, talk pop, talk whatever you want, we're here. So thanks very much for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Chart Attack is brought to you by Dork. It's hosted by Abigail Firth and Martin Young, and it's produced by Patrick Gunning. All chart data is sourced from the official charts company. You can follow us or get in touch across socials at Chart Attack Pod or via the Dork accounts at Read Dork and at Dork Radio. Thank you for listening.